Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources, articles, notes, research, and just pull out the most important insights you can use right away. And today, we are tackling a monster. I mean, it's the one question that kicks off almost every single job interview. Tell me about yourself.
Oh, it's the ultimate open-ended question, isn't it? And psychologically, it's a minefield. It sounds so innocent.
Right. Just tell me about you.
But it's really the first test of a candidate's whole communication strategy. So we took the sources you sent over, which are really targeted at job seekers, especially, people who need a bit of structure like ESL candidates, and we've boiled it all down to a foolproof, step-by-step formula.
Okay, so what's the mission?
The mission is to take this question that terrifies people and turn it into a calculated confidence-boosting story.
I love that, because when we look at the main problem that came up in the source material, it's so obvious. Most people hear that question and they take it as an invitation to ramble. They either start reading their resume out loud, page by page, or they jump into these really personal, kind of irrelevant details.
Exactly. And they are fundamentally misunderstanding what the interviewer actually wants in those first, say, 90 seconds.
What do they want then?
The sources are really clear on this. The interviewer is not trying to do a personality assessment, not yet anyway. They just have one single pressing question on their mind.
Which is?
Can this person do the job? That's it. The goal is to prove you're capable right away. Anything else is just a distraction.
And distractions in an interview are deadly.
Deadly.
Okay, let's talk about that distraction factor, because the sources had some pretty specific and kind of funny examples of what not to do.
They really did. Cautionary tales. The advice is really firm. Do not open with your origin story.
Like, I was born in a small town.
Yeah, exactly. Don't mention where you were born or list your hobbies like I like football and this was a real example mentioning you own 2 cats.
I mean, I love my pets, but I get it.
Yeah, of course. But those things, they force the interviewer to sort of mentally file that information away. It takes up cognitive space that should be reserved for your professional value.
You're wasting their mental bandwidth right off the bat. So if we're supposed to pivot away from all that, we need structure. We need some boundaries.
We absolutely do. And this is where the genius of the source material really comes through. To sound professional, organized, and intentional, it introduces a simple formula.
Framework.
A framework. It's the present, past, future structure.
Okay, so that immediately changes the whole dynamic. It's no longer tell me your life story. It's here's my professional story, edited just for you.
Precisely. It gives the candidate, especially someone struggling with nerves or, fluency, a clear path forward. It's like a 3-act play. And the sources say don't start at the beginning with the past.
Right. Start with the most impactful part.
The present.
All right, let's start there then. Part 1, the present. Who are you right now in a professional sense?
So the sources are super tactical on this. This part has to be a concise, high-impact statement of your current value. You're front-loading the good stuff.
So give us the script. What's the recommended opening line?
It's designed to be really easy to memorize and then personalize. It goes, currently, I am a software engineer at company where I focus on main task.
Simple. To the point.
It is. But there's a critical add-on. The thing that separates a good answer from a great one. You have to pair that statement with a recent, significant, a big achievement.
Okay, but why is that so crucial right at the start? Doesn't that risk sounding a little, I don't know, arrogant? Like, I'm a top engineer and I saved the company $1 million.
That's a great question. And it's a real fear that stops people. But the reason it's so important is that it forces the interviewer to listen to the rest of your story through a lens of success. You're setting the standard immediately.
So how do you avoid the arrogance part?
You focus on the impact, not the effort. So instead of saying, I worked really hard on this, you say, I spearheaded the Q3 migration project, which resulted in a 30% reduction in operational latency.
Ah, so you use numbers. Quantifiable result.
Exactly. Quantifiable results are objective achievements. They're not boasts. And in that one sentence, you go from being just another job title to a proven problem solver. From candidate to achiever.
That's a huge shift in preparation. So if I'm practicing this, I should have maybe 3 or 4 of those achievements ready to go, depending on the job.
That's the necessary prep. The present segment has to be magnetic. It has to demand their attention.
Okay, excellent. So we front-loaded our value. We've got this big achievement out there. Now we move into phase 2, the past.
The context phase.
Right. And this is where the trap is, right? This is where people start reciting their entire resume.
Absolutely. The past segment is purely functional. Its only job is to explain how you develop the exact skills needed for the job you're applying for now. The key here is editing. Ruthless editing.
So let's talk about that editing. Say you've got a 15-year career, but this new job is super specific, maybe focused on digital marketing analytics. You have other jobs in, I don't know, sales or operations. How do you pick what to talk about?
That is the strategic exercise. You have to sort of reverse engineer the job description before you even walk in the room.
Okay.
So you look at the job spec and find the 3 most critical skills they want. Let's say it's Google Analytics, data visualization, and team leadership. Your past segment, then, is built only from previous roles that prove those 3 things.
And the sources gave a template for this too, right?
They did. A way to keep it tight. Before that, I worked at previous company for 3 years. That's where I developed my skills in skill A and skill B. And then maybe add a quick example.
That's so targeted. You don't mention the unrelated internship from 10 years ago.
Unless a skill from that internship is directly relevant, otherwise, no. The constraint is vital. You have to respect the interviewer's time. If you talk about a skill they don't need, you're just creating noise, not value.
So the past really just serves to back up the present.
It validates your current capability. That's its only job.
Okay, so we have who you are now and how you got the skills. That brings us to the final and maybe most strategic part of the formula. The future. This is where we close the loop. Why are you here today?
This is the synthesis. The future part has to show intentionality. It proves you're not just, spraying out resumes for any old job. You're applying for this opportunity because it's the logical next step for you.
A lot of people mess this up, though. They make it all about what they want. I'm looking for a bigger title or a better salary.
Which might be true, but it's not strategic. The future has to shift the focus from what the company can do for you to what you can do for the company.
And the sources had a closing line for this, a kind of a mic drop moment.
They did, and it's powerful, the recommended structure is. And that brings me to today. I am looking for a new challenge where I can use my skills in skill to help a company like yours grow.
Oh, that's good. You're basically saying that you see your job as an engine for their success.
That's the strategic implication. You're linking your skills directly to their growth. It shows you're thinking about longevity, about investing in their future. If you leave out the future part, you've described yourself, but you haven't answered the most important unspoken question.
Why us?
Why us?
Exactly.
Okay, so we have this perfect framework. Present, past, future. But we mentioned delivery earlier, and that seems just as important as the structure itself.
Delivery is everything, and the source material is brutally honest about this.
Yeah.
The maximum length for this entire story, under 2 minutes.
Wow.
If you can't deliver this whole narrative in 120 seconds, you are rambling and you are losing them.
2 minutes is tight.
Yeah.
That really means this isn't a casual answer. It needs practice. This is especially important for, our non-native English-speaking listeners. There can be pressure to rush, which causes mistakes, or to go too slow, and you just blow past that time limit. Right. And the tactical advice there is to focus on clarity over speed. Use simple, strong verbs. And practice the transitions so they sound natural, not like you're reading a script. Just a simple, before that, I worked at, is a great cue that you're moving to the past.
Using those verbal cues helps the interviewer follow along. That's really helpful.
And it ties right into the key vocabulary section that was in the sources. These aren't just words to memorize. They're strategic terms that help you frame your experience.
Let's run through those. There were 4 of them. First up, background.
So background is just your experience, your history. If an interviewer says, tell me about your background, that's your cue. They're inviting you to start the past part of your formula.
Okay, that's a good trigger to listen for. Second, to highlight.
To highlight just means to emphasize the important parts. And this is your editing tool. In the present, you highlight your achievement. In the past, you highlight only the relevant skills. It's an active choice you're making.
Which leads right to the third term, relevant.
Exactly. Relevant means connected to the topic, and that word should just be running in the back of your mind. Is this job, this skill, this achievement relevant to the role I want? If not, cut it.
And finally, that great closing idea, a good fit.
Right. Suitable for the job. Every single word of your present, past, future story should be aimed at proving that you are, in fact, a good fit. It proves your capability, your foundation, and your intention.
This has been a genuine deep dive into communication strategy. We've taken what is maybe the most anxiety-inducing question out there and boil it down to this clear 3-part structure, all inside that 2-minute window.
That was the mission, replace anxiety with structure. And we've shown that mastering this isn't about memorizing your resume, it's about synthesizing your professional life into a short, compelling story.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought, building on this idea of always being prepared. If the whole point of this formula is proving your capability in 2 minutes, you have to be ready with that big achievement for the present part. So the question to think about is, what initial big achievement, something quantifiable, impactful, easy to explain, should you always have polished and ready to go, even when you aren't looking for a job?
That's a fantastic challenge because preparation for the next interview really starts the day you finish your last big project.
Exactly. Think about keeping that story sharp, always. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Go practice that present, past, future formula. We'll see you next time.